Okay. That's a wrap.
All right, cool.
See you on the other side. That's funny.
I like that. Yeah, man. So here we are. What do you got? Oh, suddenly I got all blurred.
Oh, you've
what do you
been
got
blurry
going
for
on?
half the show.
Why is that happening? I
I don't
get
know,
that.
but remember before you put your hand up to it and made it
Yeah.
refocus? Try that. Yeah.
There
It worked. There it is.
Doggone it. It's half the show I was like that.
Yeah.
I wonder why that's happening.
I don't know.
Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. End of the year, but I forgot.
Oh, I forgot Lisa told me like 8 times how I'm supposed to describe our meal for tonight. Every year we do she makes cioppino.
What's that?
Oh God, it's a seafood stew, kind of. It's in this zesty tomato broth, as she told me to say. You know, it's
zesty tomato broth.
As I said, are we going to put a dollop of something on there?
It's robust.
I said, no one says zesty unless it's in a commercial.
Yeah, right.
It's so good. So there's some clam. We're going easier on the clams because last year's was too clammy for me.
Yeah.
I only like clams in very small doses.
I'm with you.
But a lot of scallops. I got to go get the shrimp. I got to go to Whole Foods here in a little bit and get the shrimp. And tilapia. So it's like this stew, and then dip a crunchy like Italian bread in it. It's so good, and it's light, it's healthy. Which after Christmas, thank God, because I've felt like a lard ass for the last week.
The holidays have caused me to feel that way too, and I don't think I'm just feeling that way. I think I actually picked up some things, some extra baggage along the way.
So yeah, man, I like bringing in the new year with this cioppino, the seafood stew, and then the good. So it's very healthy. It's just delicious. I just love it. She does it every year.
Oh, really? So this has become your tradition, then? Oh, that's pretty cool. How about growing up? Did you have a tradition for New Year's at all?
No. You?
My folks had this thing, and I think it's a Black cultural thing, but it was that there were certain foods that you had to eat New Year's for good luck food. And so it was, you had to have like pork and beans. Is basically what it was. So we would have like ribs and we would have black-eyed peas and
sounds great.
It would and cornbread, and there'd be like kibasi or whatever, some kind
heavy
of
meal.
But it was so good.
It sounds good.
And you were supposed to have that kind of food on New Year's Eve so that you'd have good luck into the next year. And I don't know, man. Every New Year's Eve, my mouth is watering. I want some ribs so bad.
Oh, I was thinking that kibasi with the pork and beans.
Oh yeah, right. God, it was so and the get that cornbread in there and get it all. Oh yeah, and my mom would make greens. Collard greens, and now you got to know what you're doing with that.
I agree. And Lisa's done it very well before.
She knows. Oh my gosh, my family, man, and my aunt Flo, she could make some collard greens that my mom's expression. That'll make you want to slap your mama. I forgot to say on the blessings that I had this year that I got to celebrate my mother's 80th birthday.
Oh, right.
I wish I would have. I had it in my notes. Why didn't I? Oh, it was up here. I missed it. Anyway, but that was a big deal. And she's so beautiful. I mean, an 80-year-old woman, she looks amazing. And she's just, I mean, she doesn't look anything like 80. She doesn't even look like she's 50. And she's like and she's just sharp as a tack, and I mean she's great. That was a big thing, but she, they came over here and we had a big celebration for her. It was a big surprise. That's pretty cool.
Remember that.
And Anne Marie came up with some really cool ideas to give to my mom. One of them was, this was so thoughtful. I never would have come up with this. but she got all of us, me and Scott and Karen and Brandon and Hallie. We all had to come up with like 10 things that we love the most about Mom, and we wrote them all down. And then she collected all of them, and then Hallie made this. It was actually made through PowerPoint, but it was this collage of all the things that we love in this beautiful like presentation, and we turned it into like a 2 foot by 3 foot picture, and
we shared that. We shared that on the podcast.
And that was so thoughtful. I mean,
like a long time ago.
Anybody could do that for their mom, like on a special occasion. It's a great idea. My mom, she has it hung up in her house now, and she says that she's got it in a place where it's near a window, so it reflects these leaves that are outside, and so she looks at it, and she was, every once in a while she cries when she looks at that for joy.
What a terrific
gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, that's got to be the best gift she ever got.
I mean that would be the best gift I ever got. I mean, come on, and we just adore her. And the kids wrote the nicest thing. Everybody had something really personal about her in there. And she deserves it. She deserves the best. She's
absolutely
put up with me all those terrible teenage years.
You weren't that bad.
I don't know, dude. I thank God my kids weren't like me, because I mean I dreaded that. Like, what if they're like all rebellious like me and just in your face, like, don't do that, and he immediately does what I just told him not to do.
I was like that for sure.
I know. That's how we became friends.
I know. God. I'm glad your kids didn't turn out like that's probably one of the contributing factors why I didn't want to have kids.
Right? Me too. I thought about that too. It's like, wait, we're having kids? You mean kids like me? Oh my God.
Lisa and I talk about every now and then how hard it would be to raise kids today.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, and just raising them when I did was tough, but my kids, this is interesting. My kids were over on Christmas Eve. We had the best time, by the way.
Yeah. You were up till 2:30. That's crazy. I couldn't have done it. I
had a hard time, but we made it anyway. They talk about, God, I don't want to kids. I bring kids today into the world. These young people today are crazy. That's what they say.
Wow.
Just like, wow, it's all come full circle. You're not the kids anymore. You're looking at other people and thinking they're the kids.
What are they now?
They're crazy.
26 and 28?
Yeah. Brandon's going to be, holy cow. Hold on a second. So Brandon's going to be 29 coming up in a couple of years, a couple months. And Hallie's 27. So, they're in their late 20s. I mean, gosh, by the time I was their age, I already had both of them and I was married.
Wow.
But so they're looking at their lives and going, man, you bring kids today, and looking at these young people today, could it get any worse than today? Like, they see themselves as different than the millennials or whatever.
Oh, they are.
And they are. You're right. They are.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, it's so interesting to see them in the seat I felt like I was just in, you know?
Doesn't it seem like that?
Yeah, it does seem like that. I remember when my dad used to say, it wasn't that long ago, I was just like you, and I'm looking at him going,
yeah, that was like, just before Christ.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, what are you doing tonight?
We don't have any plans.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
you're getting some Denny's, aren't you?
I'm going to Denny's. Maybe. I don't know.
What's your favorite? What do you get from there?
Oh, I usually I'll have breakfast at night. Like, I like breakfast food, so I pretty much only get breakfast food over there.
Yeah.
I like their all-American slam, and so I'll get like the eggs with the cheddar cheese, scrambled eggs, cheddar cheese, and the bacon and the hash browns. That's like my favorite.
Oh, no kidding.
And
At
I'll
night.
try not to get the pancakes that come with it and get like an English muffin instead. But every once in a while, I'm like, give me those big fluffy
Oh,
pancakes because they're really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, there's nothing like good pancakes
I'm telling you, I
or a
love
good
them.
waffle.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I enjoy breakfast, and I enjoy going out to like on the weekend. I love going to a restaurant with Anne Marie and just having some coffee and having a nice breakfast or something. And another thing, that's what Scott and I like to do is, and I haven't done this in a while with him, but going on a motorcycle ride on a Saturday morning, and then we'll end up someplace and having breakfast and coffee. One of my favorite things to do is just
Sure.
having breakfast at some place and coffee and some
Yeah.
breakfast food. Love that.
I'm not that big on breakfast. I should say going out for breakfast, but Lisa and I can make some really good breakfasts. Once in a while, we like to try to keep it healthy. Once in a while, we had a name for it. I forget, something sunshine, but make toast. My mouth's watering.
I can tell.
Smashed up avocado on it, which is basically guacamole. But guacamole, you put onions and garlic in.
Right.
So just smashed up avocado on the toast instead of butter, and then a sunny side up egg over top of that. And then you just kind of eat it like pancakes with a knife and fork. You break that egg yolk and let that spread and mix
I
all.
bet that's good.
So good.
I love avocado.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I think about, like, I living out there in Cleveland, I don't think I ever even had avocado, I mean,
Really?
just really never, like, that green thing. I don't think I want that.
I have it all the time. Well, I got hooked on it because Mexican food's my favorite, and I make Mexican food all the time. And
right.
You're licking your chops over
I
there.
know, man. I'm like,
so Aldi's, they carry all natural guacamole. There's like 4 ingredients. It's avocado, onion, garlic, and salt. About it, maybe some lemon. And it comes in these shrink wrapped plastic pouches, 2 of them in a package. So you just cut off a corner, spread out, squeeze out as much as you want, put a paper clip over it. It doesn't get brown and crappy. It keeps.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I can eat a little bit of guacamole every day because I used to make it for myself. Well, then you make this great big gob of it, and you got to eat it all
real quick. Yeah, you got the countdown's on. Hurry.
Yeah. So I always have guacamole on it, fresh, all natural, organic guacamole. I always have it on hand.
That sounds nice. Yeah, I like guacamole. Not all guacamole. I'm with you. The fewer the ingredients to my guacamole, the better. And I don't like it too oniony either. It's the avocado that I just love. I mean, I just love avocado. It's such a good thing to have.
You got to eat it in moderation. It's very fatty. I mean,
it is. It's like all
full.
fat.
Yeah, make it so, but it's the good fat.
But it's the good fat. Yeah. That's what they say, right?
Unsaturated.
Exactly.
So but moderation. Yeah.
But I could eat avocado. Just put a little salt on it. And just eat it raw. I mean, I don't need to put anything on it.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So
in chili. A little bit of that and some chili.
Really?
Because it's creamy. Avocado mixes really well with a lot of foods to get even creamier. And you could use it even as a mayonnaise substitute.
Yeah, boy. You know what sucks about avocado is either it's not ripe yet or it gets spoiled too quickly. I just bought those avocados 2 days ago and they're all shriveled up and you cut it up. Maybe it's still good. Nope, that's not good.
One trick is if you're going to make your own guacamole, like I talked about, and a former client of mine told me about this. She's a hell of a cook and Mexican. Keep the pit and put the pit in with it when you're done and put it in the refrigerator. It helps it from browning so quickly. It's probably the acidity of the pit. Yeah.
So Anne Marie has these this thing, and it looks like it's a plastic thing. It looks like a half an avocado. And so you cut, how you cut an avocado and you're having a sandwich and maybe you use half of an avocado. Well, you got the other half. And like you're saying, you store it, you put it inside of this thing that looks like an avocado.
So it seals like the other half.
And for some reason, it stops it from turning brown real quick. I don't know.
Leave that pit in there.
And even when you don't leave the pit in there, for some reason, it slows the degeneration process. I still can't figure out why that works so well. Because, I mean, you put in there and you put it in like some cellophane. Man, that thing will turn before the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
But you put it inside of this thing and it looks like an avocado. For some reason, it lasts for days in there. I don't understand it. But I'm going to use the pit thing. Sometimes I'll put the pit in there. Sometimes I won't. But knowing that the pit helps it to stay fresh, I'm definitely taking that advice.
I have some chips downstairs. I guarantee you, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to go eat some guacamole.
I could see if I were at your house, we'd both be down there, man. Okay, where are they? Yeah. Where's the chips? Where's that guacamole?
Absolutely.
What are you doing tonight?
We don't. Oh, we'll be watching Ozark.
Oh, that's
having some
fun.
drinks. Yeah, we've really, not kidding you. I can't stress enough how special we made these holidays. We committed to it, and it suits Lisa because it's so hard for her to have downtime. That's just the way she's wired.
Right.
Like she feels guilty if she's not doing something. And so this COVID has forced us to have this slow time and to sit around for a day. Like she puts it on her calendar that she's going to sit around and watch Ozark for the day. And we just have the best time. We get done with a show and just look at each other and go, my God, that show's good. And it's going to be one of those, dude, we only got probably 5 more episodes until we're all caught up, and it's going to be a bummer.
Well, that's tough because then you got to wait till the next episode comes
next
out.
Season.
And yeah. Oh shit. That's tough.
Yeah.
Well,
I suppose if I'm putting this out as our after hour, whatever we call that, do I got to bleep that? You just.
I would like that.
Okay.
Yes. All right. But I know I'm like, well, anyway, that is cool that you're doing that tonight. I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah. And boy, this tiredness though, like there's no way I'm seeing the new year coming. I never do though. And I don't care, but I don't know if I can hold out with this Zoloft. I'm going to try though.
These are tough. They're tough to get adjusted to. I remember my doctor was trying to get me to take an antidepressant at one time, and I couldn't even make it past one day. It was having a terrible effect on me, but your doctor apparently, I've talked to a lot of people about this, that they can make adjustments and stuff like that. So make sure you're communicating with your doctor on this whole thing. Everything should be fine. And if they need to change it to something else, they can do that too. But
I'd say it's either going to be this or nothing. And it's only for like through March. And then as soon as the weather gets nice, I'm fine. I get on my bike, I'm fine,
Yeah. I hear exactly what you're saying. When's the last time you got on your bike?
Oh, geez, I don't know. It hasn't been that long, but I can't tell you verbatim because we've had such sporadic we've had some very nice weather recently, not too long ago. It's probably been a month though, I would say.
Do you, how about your day today? Do you have anything going on today, or are you pretty much,
this podcast takes the rest of the day for me.
It takes the rest of the day. Man.
Well, yeah, just as soon as we get done with this, just downloading the thing automatically. Like I could go make some food or whatever, and then I got to upload it into iMovie. I'm going to put a couple overlays of pictures on there that didn't work out earlier in the podcast.
Right.
Then I got to upload it to YouTube and Rumble, and then I got to mark up the whole blog and promoting it on social, which I didn't even do. I didn't even promote the Christmas one. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oops. Just thought of that just now. It's easy. It's from the time I get off the phone with you, it's 4 hours. additional.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a passion. Definitely. It's just valuable to me. Yeah, I know it. What are we going to do with the Constitution next?
Yeah, so I was planning on covering section 4, 5, 6, and 7 of Article 1, which just some nuts and bolts on the Senate and some things that are important. And I want to end section 1 with there's some items in there regarding taxes and the way that the tax system was supposed to work and the way it works today and why it works that way. It's kind of some pretty interesting stuff. I touched on it last week on the after hours part, but it's actually very interesting to see what's in the Constitution. It actually has not been changed. So when the Constitution changes and they amend it, it usually says in the Constitution that this part's been changed according to this particular amendment. That's not what happened on the tax piece. On the tax piece, it specifically says in Article 1, Section 9, that a direct tax to an individual is unconstitutional. In other words, an income tax. Unconstitutional. Now, it's interesting also to find out that in the 1800s, during the Civil War, they started an income tax to pay for the war. During that time period, the people that were making $600 and above had to pay 5% income tax. I'm sorry, 2.5% income tax. And then people that were making like $10,000 had to pay 5%. Now, that's a lot of money for back then.
Sure.
And not very many people were making that kind of money back then. So very, very few people had to pay for it. And as soon as the war was over, the Supreme Court struck down income tax as unconstitutional. Crazy, right?
So was it that I think it was 17th Amendment? Is that what?
It's the 16th Amendment that started the income tax.
God, that knowing this, like Lisa and I have really been enjoying your Constitution stuff, but ignorance is bliss, because knowing that what you taught me angers me a lot.
Well, it is something, because I was reading about President Jackson. Andrew Jackson was in the 1820s. He had actually balanced the budget, and the country was completely debt free, and the federal government was not collecting any income tax at the time. They ran the entire federal government off of tariffs and excise taxes. Oh. That was it. Wow. So, tariffs, foreign goods being imported, there was a tariff on that. That's where most of the money came from. And when they passed the income tax amendment, the federal government had plenty of money in their
Look how small they were.
Well, that was the whole thing, Barry, is that there were no social programs for the federal government, because they're not constitutional. And so the federal government wasn't expected to be your daddy. And basically that's what the federal government turned into. And it all started in the 19-teens with the passage of the 16th and the 17th Amendment. You've got an unlimited ability for Congress to collect taxes in any way they want to, including income tax. And now your senators are not they don't have an allegiance to the state legislature. Their allegiance is the same constituency as the House, which the House was made for emotional issues, and the Senate was supposed to tamp down on the emotions and be all about the business. So that's how our whole welfare state started.
And I saw that at work. I was reading this morning how the Senate tempered the whole $2,000 payoff. What do you call that? What do we call these?
The stimulus.
Stimulus. Yes. So
yes.
Tamp that down.
I'm a little confused on that whole thing, because it was interesting how it was reported. as well, which doesn't surprise me. But I was hearing where the president, after we did our show last week, we talked about the outrageous things that are in there that are supposed to be a COVID bill, but you've got all this money going over to other countries. I saw this one graph that showed that it was 175 billion for the United States out of the 900, and then the rest of it went outside of the country to other countries, and that was like 700 some billion. So 175 for us, 700 billion for them. Why? Illegal aliens they're getting money. I mean, this is they're getting more money than the actual American citizens are getting. So Trump came out after our show and said, this is wrong. I'm not going to sign this bill. But then over the weekend, I get a report that says President Trump's going to sign the bill. And I was so like, what? Yeah. Why would he do that? What's going on here? And then I had to look into it. The media wasn't reporting this, but he had written into this whole thing some red lines on the bill that said, in order for this to be effective, you're going to have to cut out all of this extra spending, and you're going to have to increase payments to the American people. And so now it's back to the House, back to the Senate, and there's speculation that this isn't even going to go through because they don't have enough time to make it go through before the session ends on something like the 4th. And then we've got the whole thing that happens on the 6th, which is also constitutional. On the 6th, they're going to count the votes. That's how this is actually called, is that when the Senate counts the votes when the Senate and the House counts the Electoral College votes, that happens on the 6th. And get ready, because the media is not reporting this. This is all about the 12th Amendment. They're going to have a situation where if 7 states have turned in equal or dueling slates, so 7 electoral college states are turning in a vote for Trump and a vote for Biden. And this is going to set up a showdown for a contested election, which means that if things go the way the Constitution says, and that's the way it's supposed to go, if this is contested at this time, then the House actually goes to vote for who the president's going to be.
Okay, so I wanted to show you this picture. You got to save some of that for our actual podcast,
Oh, yeah, this is what I'm going to cover.
Okay, so I wanted to show you this pictures. All these pictures that we decorated the house with.
They're beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. I took them in Italy when we went in 2010.
Yeah, those were great pictures. I remember looking through your whole file of pictures. There's just jewels of just, especially when you went. Oh no, that was the Greek Isles.
Yeah, right.
That
right. So Lisa says that's going to be me on that bike. That old guy on the bike there. And check this out. Now check this out. Look at the bike, and now look at this. That thing works. The pedals and chain on it, everything. It works. It's a working little model.
Wow.
I want to show you that.
How cool. You've got your floor is marble?
No. Oh, that's my desk. That's my desk.
Oh, I thought that was a bike.
It is.
I thought that was
you thought it was a real bike?
Yeah. The way you filmed it looked totally like. And then suddenly I'm like, what? Oh my God, you're a giant, Barry. How did you? What the hell?
Oh, that's funny. So my cord only reaches so far, so I can't show you that much. That back there, I wish I could zoom in on that. That's Florence, and that's one of my favorite pictures. It has a lot of depth to it.
I bet that was amazing in Florence.
Oh man, Cinque Terre. The Italy was amazing, amazingly beautiful. The next best thing that I've been to is, of course, Greece. I've been to Spain. Spain feels very comfortable, but My favorite is Italy, all of Italy, because of the culture. Like Greece, I'd say Italy is like Greece, but with better culture. Like, the Italian culture, the food and everything, but they look very, very similar. They're both like Mediterranean beautiful, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I love the way we did our trip. We did it like all coastal except for Florence. Most people go to Rome. Dude, we flew into Rome and got our rental car and got out of there. We had a driver, actually. I wouldn't recommend driving in Italy. It's crazy.
Have you
It's
been to Rome
crazy.
before? Is that why you didn't?
Nah, we just went by the Colosseum. Hey, there's the Colosseum.
Right.
We just didn't care. We just it's touristy stuff. Went through Naples, whatever. Went straight to Sorrento, right on the coast. My heart is still in Sorrento. It felt like home. So it's right on the coast. And then, you do a day trip. We did a day trip to the island of Ischia. And then another day did a day trip to the island of Capri. And that's that one, that picture you see behind me right there. That's Capri.
Oh, beautiful.
Or Capri, as you say, when you're there. Yeah.
Like Alec Baldwin's wife says it that way.
How you say,
Capri.
Isn't that funny?
It's really funny. They're so fake. These people are so fake. They've even fooled themselves. They're so fake.
They did. That's what I find weird as hell.
I know, right? She really thinks that she grew up in Spain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I conflated that.
Yeah.
She conflated that.
What happened is her parents, like she was born in Massachusetts, and I forget what her parents did for a living, real down to earth stuff. Right. I think they were like college professors or something like that, but they made a good money. They retired and moved to Mallorca. So that's where, and so she went there a couple times, and that's where she came up with the story. And it was funny. You know that comedian Amy Schumer?
Yes.
I don't like her, but she tweeted right on the.
She could say some funny stuff though.
Yeah, she tweeted right on the heels of this. Of these other tweets. She goes, "Oh, I get it. I've been to Spain a couple times too, and I really loved it." And then she put a little cucumber emoji there, which was really funny. But so her parents retired and live in Mallorca now. So that's where she came up with that story.
Wow.
But I mean, to develop her accent and everything is just kind of
crazy,
bizarre.
It is. I mean, it's kind of reminding me of the very prominent leader within the NAACP, woman. It came out that she wasn't actually black, and
that Renee Dolezal.
You know her name? That's hilarious.
Oh, she's famous. She's famous.
What the hell? You've been going around speaking in Ebonics, acting like you're black, and then it's just, and your poor parents, they're like, we're both white, so we don't know what she's talking about.
Know what's additionally funny? I know her parents, like, how does she expect this not to come out? And you see the pictures of her when she was a kid. She's like the whitest person on the planet.
Right. But now she's got like black hair, and she's looking all like, how did you did that to yourself? Like, oh my God.
I know. And now, and additionally, these same kind of dopes want to throw out this white privilege stuff. Like,
I know.
White people don't even want to be white anymore. What are you talking about? White privilege?
People, I know. Like,
apparently, you want the advantages of being a minority.
Well, and not. Yeah, isn't that something? Huh.
Yeah.
The advantages of being a minority. Isn't that something?
It's something to think about.
Also, like, I'm just talking with Anne Marie and everything. It's like, well, white people are experiencing what it would feel like to be a minority. And it almost feels like they're doing it to themselves, like trying to make themselves feel like I'm oppressed now.
It is white people doing it to white people, yes.
Because I'm a bad white person or something.
I don't know.
I don't really understand why you do it.
It's a guilt thing.
But I'm like, Anne Marie felt like victimized because everywhere she goes, she feels like people, because, here you are a minority if you're white. Mm-hmm. But if, like, well, these people are looking at me like they hate me. And, I don't know if they're doing that or not. That I never feel that.
I have felt it.
But, but I have gone places before as a black person and felt that, but then I trained myself not to think about it, because I realized that it's me thinking about it that's causing all the unhappiness. So if I just ignore it and just be me and hey, if they're thinking that, whatever, unless it's in my face, I've trained myself not to really think about it. But now seeing her going through it, and it's hard. You have to train yourself to think like that, right? Yeah. But this is all just smacking her in the face.
Yeah.
And it's tough. And I'm saying, well, it's what's really crazy is that it's coming from your race. I mean,
it is.
And it happens in the black race too. I mean, black people are notorious for hating other black people. And and especially between light-skinned black people and dark-skinned black people, there's a problem there. And people that speak in Ebonics and people that don't speak in Ebonics, there's a problem there. And
did I tell you
about a human thing? It's not a race thing; it's a human thing that's happening.
Did I tell you that I was listening to? This is about 2 weeks ago. What's his name? Kanye West was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Did I tell you about that?
You were talking about how he reverted to birthday. And
he started out talking like you and I. For some reason, he mentioned Earth a bunch of times, the word Earth. And then the second half, even before then, he's saying Earth. All of a sudden, he's saying Earth.
Yeah.
What is going through your head, when you're doing that?
Right. I think he probably naturally speaks in Ebonics and it tries to clean it up. So
I think it's the other way, dude. I think
really. So he thought it was an act that he started speaking.
He wants
in
to make
Ebonics.
Sure. Yeah. There's the pressure.
So that's where I was going. There's like, two kinds of things. There's the people that speak like me that'll fake the Ebonics every once in a while, and then there's the other guy.
It's kind of like LeBron James having to feel that he has to say that he feels like he's being hunted and everybody, black people feel like they're being hunted when he's just so out of touch, and he wants to show people his people that he's not out of touch. That's what I think Kanye West is doing there.
Maybe you're right. I can see that. I think you're right about that.
But I think it's bizarre. Dude, that's right up there with this Hilaria Baldwin. That's the same thing. It's damn people. Authenticity. People want authenticity.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. And the people that can just be themselves and just be authentic, those are the people that people are attracted to. What do you think about Matthew McConaughey? We've
cool,
been seeing, I think he is too. And I see him weighing in on the politics, and he's trying to be apolitical, but he's actually
pretty moderate.
But he is wading in and trying to make sense of both sides of things and all. The thing I get from Matthew McConaughey is that he's just being himself. He's being authentic.
Agreed.
And that's what makes him likable. He's a likable. I don't agree with everything he says.
Sure.
He's just a likable guy.
I think you nailed it.
Somebody you'd want to hang out with.
I think
that's a value in our show, Barry. Is that you're like that. You're likable. We're likable, but we can have differences of opinions, but we just talk to each other with respect, and we just, like we value each other. I might not agree with you, but I value what your opinion is. And at the end of the day, I might still disagree with you, but I value you. And this is important for the world to see.
It is. There's about 2 shows ago, trying to remember what we were talking about. But the interesting thing is I said something, I was sharing my perspective on it. You disagreed with me, and you literally changed my mind right there on the show.
See, that's the whole thing.
Well, and it was something that I, like many things, I didn't know a lot about. There's a degree of ignorance to it. And but I'm a curious person. I
love that about you.
I bring it up to you, and then you share all this information with me. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, you changed my mind. I wish I could remember what it was,
Well,
but I remember thinking about that as soon as we start talking, it leads it right into another thing. So I never got back to it, but I remember it left an impression on me, and I think it's valuable that we're open-minded enough that we share our perspectives and our knowledge on things, and we're willing to even change our own opinions instead of being pig-headed. And
that's the thing, right? Is like,
yeah.
I know that I don't know everything. As much research as I do,
Same here.
I don't know everything. And the other thing too is that, history is written by the victors. So,
you're right.
There's always, we weren't there, so we don't know. We can only go off of what the evidence is, and we could talk about this. And I'm open to, I'm open to the fact that I could be wrong.
Right.
And I think if you have that attitude and you display that attitude in your everyday talks, you're going to do fine. It's sort of like my neighbors. I know almost all my neighbors are very liberal. Everybody's so cool in my little neighborhood. I love my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, over the last year, we're all talking politics, so we all know where we stand. And I was having this conversation with one of my neighbors who's very liberal, and we were, he was telling me some stuff I disagreed with, but I quickly was able to find common ground, stuff that we did agree on. And I think that's an important skill too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the conversation, the guy says, "Man, I really enjoy talking with you about this. Unlike Glenn down the world there." Glenn, and I love Glenn. He's such a great guy,
Yeah.
but for some reason they're not enjoying the conversation as much. I don't know.
Some people just get, they just get too emotional and offended by having their opinions challenged.
It's fun though, because I got Glenn and then Russ and myself. So Russ is liberal, but he's also a guy that can see the conservative views, and we have great conversations about that. And Glenn's extremely conservative and unbending on that whole thing. And so the three of us having this conversation and the banter going back in between those two guys and me kind of being in the middle as sort of like I'm trying to referee this conversation, and they're both like flipping each other off, but laughing at the same time. And it's just really fun. We have a great time talking and everything. It is great.
But you're right. There's a skill to being able to have a conversation like that. And the first thing is you got to show empathy. You got to care about the other person and their feelings. And if you see they can't handle it, then you got to back off.
I agree. I think another part of the skill is not to take yourself too seriously.
That's a big part of it.
Like, you just be willing to be wrong, in the face of evidence, and be okay with that, and also laugh. If you're smiling, if you're laughing about things, if you're kind of, you just don't take life so seriously, and just kind of, because most of the stuff is completely out of our control anyhow.
It is.
So we can just, so keeping that door open. When I was in Amway, didn't make any money doing that, but I learned a lot of really interesting things. And one of them was that this guy was teaching about he called it the trap door. He says, when you're talking to somebody, they've got their trap door open, and they could receive what you're saying, but you can act in a certain way that'll cause that trap door to be closed, and that's never going to open up again.
Right.
You got to be able to have a skilled conversation to be able to keep that trap door open. And those two things we just talked about having empathy and not taking yourself too seriously, are two very key strategies in keeping the door open.
Let me tell you something, how exactly I apply that to our podcast. So when I'm going through Google News and I'm looking at the important news of the day, if I see something like the Portland riots covered and there's a story by Fox and a story by CNN, I look at them both, but I want to share the one by CNN because I want to keep that trapdoor open with those listeners.
The funny thing about that is that CNN can close the trapdoor for other people too. Both of them can close trapdoors.
I know, but if it's interesting, but if it's a more conservative viewpoint and it's coming from CNN,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're right. I totally agree. It's interesting. Remember when I ran that, was it Southern
And California? By the way, because CNN's like online journalism news is a lot different than watching that freaking program, that news program on TV. That's just a bunch of opinions and what do you call it?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's
commentary.
It's commentary, right, right. No, they're the written stuff on the websites is those are news reports. Yes, they don't share as many details as a Fox would when it comes to a conservative viewpoint, but it's more trustworthy than a commentary for sure.
Well, I tell you what, get a free subscription to the New York Times online. That's what I did. And I
was thinking about it.
Blown away, Barry, by the reporting that's in there. I mean, you're giving a great compliment to CNN. I could not give that same compliment to the New York Times.
Really?
It's terrible.
Wow.
I mean, you'll read that and just be angry with everything, and you'll hate America. I mean, this is what I come out of those articles with. It's just awful. But boy, there was something you said a second ago that I wanted to go back to, but it slips my mind.
Well, my point was about keeping that trap door open, trying to keep the lines of communication open. That's why I'll try to share something from a liberal news source.
I know what I was going to say. Yeah. So, but you're making sense in what you're saying big time. And it all depends on your audience too. I remember when I was in charge of that Southern California professionals group, and we were trying to find jobs for everybody. I would get up and I would talk about what's happening in the news. And I would always quote from CNN. Just because I got a California audience here in front of me.
You're talking to your audience.
Yeah. And so I went out to lunch with somebody and she goes, I have something I got to confess to you. And I hope that you don't hate me when I confess this to you. And I'm like, okay, go ahead. And she goes, I'm a conservative. I'm like, you are? Yeah, man. I go, so am I. And she's like, what? Well, you're constantly quoting CNN in the meeting. And I was like, I fooled you, didn't I?
That's
But
funny.
also it was a compliment because she didn't know. Like, I'm not wearing that on my sleeve in business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm keeping it in the middle of the road here. I'm not trying to go over on this side of the ditch or that side of the ditch.
Sure.
Because I'm trying to keep the trap door open.
There you go. No, it's very important. You know, I was emailing back and forth with Diane Harrison.
Good.
Yeah, last couple of days. She's nice. Gosh, she is very nice. Talking about her SEO a bit, and got around to you. She was like, so I know Merle from
Vocera.
Yes, Vocera. And she just, I don't want to say too much, but she just said it wasn't a great work environment. And I said, you got to reach back out to Merle, give him a call. You guys got a little bit of free time. I think you guys should talk.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear. I know we're being recorded right now, but I'd be really interested to hear what she has to say. It'd be kind of interesting. But I mean, it's just, that's how it is out there. You're going to have good experiences and bad experiences. I can look back and definitely see the blessings of working for Vocera, and there's a lot of good people over there too. So no regrets for me whatsoever.
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know.
But I'm glad she's doing well. I mean, it sounded like she was doing well.
She's at the point, this is a big part of what we were talking about. So she's at the point where this is a common thing when people start their own businesses, and it's a good sign. She's so busy, she needs help, but there's that hump you got to get over of, can you actually pay somebody to help you? It's like nail biter. That's a tough.
That inflection
she's
point.
at that point. Yeah. So it's talking about like, hey, can you outsource some of it with a virtual assistant? And she has tried doing a bit of that. She's a real people person, and she's tired of working alone. She actually wants to assemble a team.
Good.
Which I think is terrific.
Yeah. That's so cool that you're talking with her. I love that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll do a Zoom in January, because I want to give her some tips on her website, how to help her SEO and that kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll do that. I look forward to doing that.
I love that we have friends of the show that communicate with us, like Diane, and we've got Megan and Tim and various other people out there as well. They've been very supportive of us, and I really appreciate them very much. And they've really been encouraging.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And when we get a nice little shout out, that's just so heartwarming,
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Well, I should probably wrap up here, Barry.
Yeah. Yep. All right, buddy.
Hey, man, this has been great. As usual, Happy New Year to you. I God bless your new year. God bless Lisa and you. And gosh,
you too. Hey, we're about halfway through season 3. This is number 10.
Wow.
We're almost halfway through.
Yeah. Boy, we're cooking along, man.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Haven't missed a week. We haven't.
Looking forward to getting back to our constitutional stuff next Friday. It'll be the 7th, and so it'll be after that whole event with the Electoral College. So we can talk a little bit about that too. I think that'll be interesting. I think it's going to be. I think a lot of people are going to be unprepared for what's going to happen, or they're not prepared to understand what's actually happening here. And maybe it'll be a non-event. I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking, based on the information that I'm seeing, there's a lot of crazy stuff, especially with those Dominion voting machines. Hey, before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, I told you about the 2 different stories I heard about that explosion in Nashville, right?
We talked about that briefly the other day.
So there's 2 different stories, but
I don't know the 2. I know one, but go ahead.
The one that I heard, the first one I heard was that this guy's a 5G conspiracy theorist. And that's why he wanted to blow up the AT&T building because of the contract with the 5G. Then I started immediately after that story came out. The next story came out was that building was contracted. AT&T had been contracted by Dominion to house their cooling unit for their supercomputer for the Dominion system, that the voting machines were actually in that building that were going to be tested by forensics regarding the presidential election, and that the intent was to destroy all of that, which I believe did happen. So it's really interesting to see what's going on. And meanwhile, we've got this election that's happening in Georgia, which will decide the fate of our country. Because if, for instance, the 2 Democrats win, that gives the Democrats and the Republicans, it will be even 50-50 in the Senate, but the deciding vote is the vice president, and the vice president, of course, is Kamala Harris. So now they can confirm judges. They can decide to pack the court. They could decide to add Puerto Rico and DC as states, which would give the Democrats more power. They can go for the Green New Deal. They can start to enforce mask mandates and other closures without any problems. And that the Supreme Court, after they pack the Supreme Court, there'll be nothing to stop any of that legislation. It'll just be the Supreme Court will be a rubber stamp. So that's what's happened, and the news has come out that an expert witness has testified that because the vote's happening in Georgia right now, An expert witness has testified that he's been able to hack into the voting system in Georgia, which is not supposed to be able to happen. But apparently the system is connected to Wi-Fi and anybody can hack into it. And if they can hack into it, they can change the results. That's the net is that the results can easily be changed.
I've thought a lot about this, and it's kind of like with everything today. How do we know what to believe about anything, including the votes, how rigged or not rigged it is, how legit it is or not legit, but everything. So you were just talking a little bit ago about the victors write history, and that's really interesting. I've not heard it said that way before, but it's true. And Lisa and I were just talking about this the other day, is how do you know what to believe about anything at all anymore? And there's the whole postmodern movement too, where that's kind of been the trend, is to rewrite history and say that nothing is believable. And these are the same people that say they believe in science, and they just pick and choose what they want to believe. And it's like it's to a point where, I don't know, don't you have to surrender to a degree and believe in something? Because
I think you do.
I'm starting to, the scary thing is I'm starting to understand how these postmodernists think.
I totally get what you're saying. And here's what I think I've come to. Here's what I believe. The truth is a spiritual entity. Jesus Christ says of himself that I am the truth, the way, and the life. He calls himself the truth. The truth is a person according to Christianity, and he is the center of the truth. And the truth has a ring to it. And I think that we were designed by God to hear the truth, or hear the ring of truth. You were talking about it earlier, about when people are being authentic. Mm-hmm. People can tell when somebody's being authentic or inauthentic. Well, that's because the truth has a ring to it, right? Mm-hmm. We as human beings have a way of being able to understand the truth. It's sort of like this, when I was a kid, there were certain things that I had convinced myself of because I just wanted to believe them, because it would just be easier to believe these things. And so I would tell myself this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. But deep down inside of me, I knew that I was not right about that I was trying to convince myself that it was right because I liked that. Mm. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of that going on right now. And I think that when you talk about these post-modernists, that they have an ideology, and they get very, especially these people that get really defensive, and they'll immediately attack somebody else's character if they debate them. It's because they got nothing. They have no defense for what they believe in, because there's nothing to justify what they believe in. So the only thing they have available to them is an attack on the other person's character. And you see this all the time. I guess what I'm getting to is that if it's truth, it's going to have a ring to it. There's going to be a feeling to it, and you're going to be able to easily justify it. I think that's all we have to go on. I really do believe that's what we have to go on.
Merle, they're like, when I'm doing my research for whatever topic we're talking about, and I tell you, I go on Fox's website or CNN, all that. I mentioned this before. I don't like to make a big stink about it, but for real, if it's a leftist publication, they don't have a comment section. So I'm not kidding. It's like 99% effective, like Huffington Post or anything like that. They don't have the comment section, and I just believe it's because people will get on there and talk sense. I mean,
I think that's pretty wild. That's a great revelation right there.
Yeah.
Because you can't defend. It's hard to defend a lie. So why open the door? That's why we have censorship, because the only people that want censorship are the people telling a lie. If you're telling the truth, you realize truth has a ring to it, so you're not threatened by lies. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is that when this kind of thing comes up and things are being censored, it's never because the people telling the truth don't want to lie out there. It's never. That's never the. It's always the smokescreen reason, because that's a lie. But it's always that. It's always that. I take a look at this election and I start looking at the anomalies in the election. Like, for instance, Joe Biden getting more votes than Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. That seems surprising when both of those people were out campaigning like crazy and Joe Biden didn't campaign at all. Or that the second highest amount of votes that anybody ever got was Donald Trump. Or that the Gallup poll just came out and said that Donald Trump was the most popular person or most admired person in the United States. And third was Joe Biden. And second was Barack Obama. This is interesting to me when you start to take a look at more people voted in these elections in many places than people were registered. Or all these dead people that they found out that were voting. Sure. It's just too many things that stink here. Yeah. And we're going to have to live with that. And I think the part that's the worst part about it, no matter what the actual results are, is that going forward, no one's going to forget this. I'll never forget this. And I'm going to have a very hard time believing in our electoral system anymore. And I think that's the most damaging thing that happened as a result.
I agree. I said it before. I think more important than who is going to win this presidency for the next 4 years is much more important is what we did to our election process and the trust.
You're right, Barry. You're right.
So we got 4 years to fix it.
How can we? Some people are talking about an independent commission to do research into this. To me, that seems like a pretty good idea.
I think that sounds like the only good idea. The only way to go.
I was talking to my neighbor, Russ, the guy that we love to debate each other and everything, and he was telling me about voter suppression and how angry he is about voter suppression, and how what he finds out is that a lot of these cities, they'll only have poll in one place and everybody's got to get there. Some people have to travel way out of their way to get there, and then they got to wait in line for like 2.5 hours. And then he says, and these are all red states, Republicans are running these states, and that's systemic racism right there. And I said, okay, that's pretty interesting. I said, now we should probably do our research on this, because I don't know if I know this, and I don't know that you know this or not, but I had heard that the determination of where voting polls were going to be and how many there were going to be actually is determined by the individual county, not the state. And as a result, what we're seeing is these places that you're talking about, while they may be run by Republicans, that there could be a lot of these cities are Democrat-run cities, and meaning that that city is actually controlling the county. And so I don't know. I think we have to look into this. And then he says this, a couple guys like you and I should go out and do the investigation and broadcast it. I mean, we're laymen's. I'm a liberal. You're a conservative. I mean, what are the chances that you and I are gonna try to fudge this together? This is going to be whatever we came up with would be believable. I'm like, that's exactly right, Russ. Mm-hmm. We, as the citizens, need to take this back. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be just relying on the government to tell us what the right thing was. This should be something that unites all of the citizens together, because whether Joe Biden wins or Donald Trump wins, that's only temporary, right? That's only the next 4 years. What we're dealing with right here has a lasting impact on generations to come. And our very way of life, our safety, our security is all at risk here. I mean, everything, our families could fall apart as a result of this. Yeah. We should be locking our arms together and protecting what we have. And the fact is, in our many conversations, we know that we have way more in common that we don't have in common. Yeah. And so let's defend that. And I found that we were both inspired by that conversation.
No, that's a great conversation to have. It's kind of like vetting your jury, get some qualified liberals and qualified conservatives that can work together. You got to screen them for that aren't malicious and wanting to skew things, that actually want to work together and put a committee together and do the science. Yeah.
And I think, like you said, part of being able to work together is what you said earlier, be willing to change your mind in the face of absolute proofs and data.
Wanting truth is better than wanting to mangle the truth, to stick to your ideology.
You got that right, man. I mean, why? It seems like we shouldn't have a problem finding those people, but apparently it's pretty tough.
Yeah, today it is. It's true.
All right. So with that, I should wrap up and get on out of here, man. Yeah. Happy New Year to you. Love you, Barry.
Love you too, bud.
All right. I'll talk
have
to you
a
later.
great. Okay.
You too. Bye.